Dude, okay. Here's an interesting.
Transabled people, man.
Do you think, okay, this might be too deep of a subject to cover in all of our time, but, if you're here at the end, you're the most loyal, so cool.
Yeah, definitely. If you're still here, what's up?
Question. I saw this thing a while ago that was like, I showed it to you, and it was basically this idea that if you are identifying as a trans person, but you don't have body dysmorphia, meaning you don't feel like you're actually like born in the wrong body.
Dysphoria.
Dysphoria. Yes. Dysmorphia is when you body dysphoria, where you feel like you're born in the wrong body. Like you were born as a male, but you feel like you should have born a female. If you are trans and you don't have body dysphoria, if you don't have gender dysphoria, sorry, I was mixing up those terms, then you're basically just the equivalent of like an edgy kid in like the early 2000s, like an emo kid or something, like where it's like, oh, it's like cool to be edgy and trans right now. Do you think that equivalent is the like transabled stuff? Because like like if you're also saying like, who are you to say like what I feel, whatever, who are you to say
I don't have enough I don't have enough information to know. It's like I don't know if I can speak.
Do you think they can be compared?
Well, I don't know if I agree with that stance in the first place that you mentioned, where the whole like if like whether they have whether they have dysphoria or not, like I don't think that matters. Like,
well, here's the thing:
if they're a trans person, they're a trans person. Like,
exactly. Like you should accept them no matter what, and the only one that can actually police that is yourself. But is it kind of the similar thing where someone's like, "Well, who are you to tell me that I shouldn't like be able to?" like chop my arm off or like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, well, if I'm transabled,
I don't know. I mean, transabled people have an extreme case of dysphoria, and it's body dysphoria. And there's another name for it. I forget the name of it. I looked it up. But it's like when you like feel like your limb doesn't belong to you, so you like have this urge to like want to cut off, your leg or your arm, or you feel like you should have been born, disabled, or your dream is to be, a paraplegic, or you want to, just sit around in a wheelchair all day. And, it's like, well, I just can't find a doctor to do the operation. And like, my argument is always like, go get hit by a car, like shoot yourself, like inject saline into your spine. Like there's plenty of ways that you can do this. Like if you want your arm to be gone, but you can't find a doctor to cut it off, table saws exist. Just slice that bitch off. Like if you truly, honestly, legitimately, actually feel like you need to be paralyzed, or if you need to have an do it.
Yeah, but that's also
no one's stopping you.
Yeah, but that's
just
also
do it.
That's not exactly real, because they don't want to die. You could easily die doing it yourself, and you could probably pass out. Like, just because they want their arm to be gone doesn't necessarily mean they want to feel the pain, and doesn't necessarily mean they also might potentially want to die. Like, they want to do it under supervision of a doctor.
They want to pick and choose the whole process. Like, if you feel like you want to be an amputee, then you need to go through the whole process. Like, run over your hand with a monster truck, like crush it, like it's gonna hurt, go to the doctor and be like, it's broken, cut it off.
I'm just saying, like, it's like this, it would be also the same as like, it's like, well, if you want to be a girl so bad, why don't you cut off your own dick? Yeah, you can't find a doctor to cut off your dick, just go there's scissors exist. Take your scissors and chop off your pain.
All right, fine.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a parallel. Like, where do we fucking draw the line? It's weird.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I care enough, because there's like 3 people in the world, or at least people that are public about it. I mean, I knew a guy who like hit me up, who's like somehow made his way secretly into like the spinal cord injury support groups. Like he sits in a wheelchair and, pushes himself around, but he clearly does not have atrophied legs. Or if he does have atrophied legs, they're from just him sitting around in the wheelchair the whole time. And, he like messaged me. He's like, because he like knows I have a platform. And he's like, would you ever talk to or interview someone who, wishes in their deepest, darkest desires to want to be a paraplegic that they wish ever since they were born, someone who has, this type of, I forget what it's called. It's not body dysmorphia. There's another name for it. I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
And just like, I was like, dude, I don't have any interest in talking to you. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And if you desperately want to be a paraplegic, like there's ways you can make that happen. Like you can definitely do it to yourself.
Well, I think that's kind of like the argument that I'm trying to make with like this whole like, do you actually have body dysphoria, or are you just like wanting to be edgy and like pretend so that you can get attention on the internet?
Dude, I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist.
I know that's the interesting thing.
I'm not in their brain.
I know you're not.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't judge. I mean, I think if you're a person that's willing to permanently modify your body for the rest of your life through physical modifications and chemical modifications, there's got to be some reason you want to do it.
Yeah, but some people are also.
You can always undye your hair. You can always unpierce your ears. You can always stop wearing eyeliner and black lipstick and weird clothes, and you can go back, to being like the non-emo kid.
I guess that makes sense.
Like there's no going. No going back from this. Like, you can't go back from being on hormones for years and years and years. You can't go back from having surgeries that alter your body. Like you can't go back from it. So I tend to think, it's the same way with like wheelchair users. It's like, well, I mean, there's got to be a reason why. Like I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why maybe they shouldn't, but there's probably a lot of reasons why they should. And it's like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
That's not my job to like decide why people do what they do.
Yeah, and that wasn't really the nature of like what I was trying to get at, because you can only know that for yourself. But it's like, who are you to judge anyone? Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm not in your brain. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Again, we can dive into this subject way more once we like do a little more research and stuff like that. But I just thought it was an interesting kind of parallel, because I've been thinking about that a lot. It's like, there's definitely this movement of people that want to just be like edgier and edgier and crazier. And maybe if there's like a level of permanent, like there's like a level of permanence to it, then it's like more.
But I get what you're
like
saying. Is
like
everyone wants to be unique. And now there are more and more extreme measures of how you can be unique.
Exactly.
You can be like the most trans, or like the most queer, or you can be,
the most
disabled, or you can be the most, insert the blank, or you can have the worst, insert the blank. And it's like, there's someone I know on Instagram who I kind of had to unfollow because I'm just like, dude, like you got a new diagnosis every month. And honestly, I feel like you're full of fucking shit. Like you talk as if you're a member of this group, but like I don't see that. Like I've seen you, I've watched you over the past 12 to 18 months, and every fucking month it's something new with you, and you always like have it almost is like a costume. It's like, oh, I got diagnosed with this, and then
new content.
He'll buy like all the new equipment to like make him.
Now I have
fit.
a tube in my nose and shit.
Yeah, it's like to fit the stereotype of what it is he just got diagnosed with. And it's like, are you diagnosed hunting? Like, what are you looking for? And like the person has had some procedures.
I was gonna say, but we also have to acknowledge like some people like that do exist, where they're like they're chronically ill and they're constantly getting diagnosed with shit.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah. But like, I also know a girl like in real life who makes up medical problems. Like she makes up the fact that she like broke a bone.
Wasn't that Munchausen? Munchausen's?
Not by proxy, by just actual Munchausen's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where she constantly will like, she'll tell everybody that she has like a cancerous brain tumor and then she's dying. And then like a month later, she'll be like, oh, it was cured. And it's like, no, it wasn't. That's not how that works. Or she'll like, like cut her, like she'll like break her wrist or like hurt her wrist and like be in a cast because she just wants attention. She just like wants nonstop attention about her medical problems. And then she'll like nothing she does keeps private, and she'll always just like announce it to everybody about like, oh, I got this new problem. And it's like, cool, thanks for telling us.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always this like announcement, and she always wants like this sympathy and like there's people that have like gone with her to like help her like, in like with like her doctor's appointments and stuff, and then we'll come out and talk to people and be like, dude, no one believes her. Like not even the doctors believe her. And it's like that, but that's also like a problem within like medicine right now, is there's like a lot of physicians that like maybe like
they diagnose for the masses and not specific things. Or whatever.
Yeah. But then this person will like jump from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to like to get this diagnosis that she wants. Like she wants to have like this particular diagnosis, and then will like go to like 10 or 15 doctors until she gets the diagnosis. And it's like, what comes first here, chicken or egg? Like, are you trying to like be on these meds and like have to go through all these procedures and then like live your life with this diagnosis? Or do you want to just like, it's like she's intentionally trying to find the hard route. Like, I don't know, man, it's complicated because it's like, I know this person already has mental health problems, so I like wouldn't be surprised if they were faking it.
That's another part of that whole conversation.
Yeah, like they might, but then again, like who am I to decide? Like who am I? I just don't care enough. It's like, not my circus, not my monkeys, not my problem. You know, like it's been getting to the point, dead ass. Like if I ever see her and she's like, "Oh, hey, Richard, like let me tell you about some of my new stuff that I had that's happened to me since we talked last." I'll literally just be like, "Oh, congratulations." I literally say congratulations, and she doesn't even flinch. She's like, "Thanks. It's been like a really hard time for like me to get this diagnosis." And I'm like, "Congratulations. I bet a lot of people really care about that." Like I literally have like gotten to the point where I'm like, I am done. Like I do not care. And like she comes up to me because she knows like I've got, you know, medical issues or whatever, and like it's even got to the point where like we had like another friend of a friend of a friend who like knows someone who's like one of like the most higher up like elite like physicians like in the world, and through it's just like a crazy people of like people who know people who know people who know people kind of thing. And like he looked at like her medical history and he's like, "This is a lie." Like on paper he looked at it, he's like, "This is a lie." He's like, "No physician would ever give these medications without this particular reason, without this diagnosis, without this test. This person has never had those issues, and this is a lie." She's like, the physician was like looking at this paperwork. He's like, "I don't even have to meet the person to know that they're lying. Like they are lying."
And that's why people get a bad rap, because people like that exist.
Yeah, I mean, we're over time, but you know, it's kind of like the whole. I mean, not to open up another can of worms, but it's kind of like the people that like are like.
That was me opening up the worms.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. It's like the people that like regret having sex with a guy and then call it rape. It's like, no, that's just called.
That was a big can of worms.
Yeah, it's like that's just that's called regret, not rape. And by you calling it rape, you are making all the people who did get raped, actual
rape victims, you are bastardizing their entire experience.
You're belittling them because you like hooked up with a guy, and then the next morning you're like, "Oh, I didn't really like having sex with them, but I'll just tell everybody he raped me." And it's like, whoa,
or you're embarrassed that you did.
Yeah, or you're embarrassed that you hooked up with them, so you just lie about it. Ugh, I don't want to get into this bullshit right now. I just got into it, but I'm sorry, everyone.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode that clip was from, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. And if you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right here.